Peggy 18.
He kicks, he scores!
Bulletstorm from People Can Fly in Epic Games during the build-up for the imminent release has always been, it's a kick-ass, humorous, violent, over-the-top game.
Ludicrously over-the-top game.
Ludicrously over-the-top. Is it?
It's pretty over-the-top. It's not as over-the-top. Actually, I'm not saying let down or anything, but the way the hype was built up, you'd expect this really incredibly stupid, almost kind of thing, and it's not. It goes on a fine balance between fun stupidity and the stuff blowing up in awesome ways, sort of.
Let's start at the typical starting point. There's actually, when you're looking at videos and stuff from Bulletstorm, it's usually about kicking people and shooting them in spectacular ways, but there's actually a single-player campaign with a story.
With a story and, plot and characters and character development and scenery and flashbacks and all sorts of good stuff. Shooting spaceships, too.
What did you think about this story?
It's, I thought it was actually pretty refreshing because, at this point, I'm so used to shooters being these overly serious, dramatic, high tense drama, realism type deals, and this is none of that. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and really goes for the it's a sort of popcorn movie experience. It doesn't lend itself to overanalyzation or anything. It's just good. I won't say clean family entertainment you can trust, but it's good fun. It's really good fun.
One thing that struck me, Rasmus has finished the game and I haven't had the time yet, but only during the first couple of hours, just looking at the characters, they're not as, they come from a Gears of War kind of tradition, but they're not really as testosterone-laden as Marcus Phoenix.
No, exactly.
They're big men and they're manly.
They are big and burly men and they curse a lot, but unlike Gears of War, which almost becomes too gun horny. There's a lot of banter here and a lot of sort of camaraderie between the guys, and it's actually pretty well developed. And it doesn't, go across the line just being too stupid. It's pretty low brow, but it walks the fine line.
Also, it should be said about the story, what I felt that it doesn't really put that much focus on it in a way, that it's easy to, the cutscenes, which is always a big thing, and if they get too long, it's annoying, but they're kind of short.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait between action scenes.
It doesn't get in the way, and it doesn't ever, tell you how you should feel. One of the things I didn't like about the second Gears of War was that storyline about, I can't remember his name, but Marcus's friend who lost his wife or something, and he was being all emo about it, and I thought, you're not good at emotion, stop doing it. Bulletstorm does none of that. It's completely stripped out of, melodramatics or overly weepy, it's just, guns, shooting, fun, with a little, I feel the story is more there to justify the characters and the dialogue than the other way around, and I like that.
Which brings us to the over-the-top gameplay.
Yes, the shooting.
The shooting part, which of course is
obviously
an integral part of Bulletstorm.
of any shooter game, yes. They made a big deal about this thing called the skill shot system, where you get points for killing people in various ways, in creative ways. Kicking a guy and he'll hit some poles, and get 100 points for spiking him or throwing him in the air and shooting him in the air, or hitting a guy with a grenade and then beating him or kicking him into his friends and then blowing him up, so he takes all those out, get lots of points for that sort of thing. What they haven't really touched upon in the build-up for the game is that the points you accumulate, you actually need those to buy weapons and upgrades and ammunition, and so it's not just it becomes pretty integral, the skill shot system, and so it means there's a lot of variety in the action because you want to get the most points, you can get the most ammo and the most guns, and just seeing that big cloud of numbers pop up when you do something really sweet is very awesome.
As we mentioned before, that Bulletstorm comes from kind of Gears of War, Unreal Engine, Epic Games tradition.
Yes.
And that's also reflected, I think, in the graphics.
Yes.
But there's more to it than that, especially in the environments.
The environments are pretty damn amazing. Every chance they get, they stuff in some, gigantic vista or beautiful view of something, and just it's pervasive through most of the game. And there's a lot of variety in it. There's big skyscrapers, there's spaceships at the beginning, there's mountain sides and water falling down, and Bulletstorm is a really, really, really good-looking game. And it's all, it's really stylishly presented. There's a lot of, because they've gone on this almost characterized sort of style, and not doing any sort of realism at all. They can go really nuts with the architecture and all that, and it looks amazing. At least the environments do. The characters, not so much.
And it's a typical what we can expect from Unreal Engine. They kind of everything is big.
Yeah, they're big and burly men, but the textures and facial animations and all that stuff is not the most impressive. I've seen better, at least. But the environments are really, really good looking.
Yeah, absolutely. But there must have been something during your many hours with Bulletstorm that didn't work as well, wasn't it? Or?
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not the best game I've ever played at all, but it's really good fun, and it's really well done most of the way, or all of the way.
So it's good-looking entertainment.
It's good-looking entertainment. It's the language is also pretty colorful,
to say the least.
but still, when you were watching the trailers, you might have been sort of worried that it became too colorful, but I thought they again the balance. There's a character who shows up late in the game who's really colorful, and I picked up a few new curse words that I hadn't heard before. I've learned a couple of insults from Bulletstorm, but it's the delivery and the writing is actually pretty spot on, so it doesn't feel forced or anything at any point, which is nice.
Which can also bring us to just to wrap things up. It was said by a certain American outlet, Fox News, that. More or less that the combination of the violence and the sexual nature of the conversations or the dialogue. Do you think that did you notice that at all? Did you ever react to it?
There's almost no sex talk. There's one thread at one point about killing someone's dick off or something, and it's so weird that even none of the characters ask what does that even mean. And that's really the only time they go there. There's a couple of names of the skill shots that are a little genitalia fixated, but it's not a big deal.
Is Bulletstorm the worst game ever?
No, definitely not.